Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This lecture is for BBA 2. The subject is Principles of Microeconomics. This is our lecture number 7, which is delivered by Ms. Zahra Arif. In this lecture, we will discuss about the law of diminishing marginal utility. Law of diminishing marginal utility. The law of diminishing marginal utility states that beyond a certain quantity, additional units of a specific good will yield declining amounts of an extra certification to the consumer. Or we can also say that in easy words that other things remain the same. The marginal utility of every new unit will be less than the previous one. Consider durable goods. For example, a consumer desire for an automobile when he or she has none may be very strong, but the desire for the second car is less intense and the third or the fourth weaker and weaker. Unless they are collectors, even the wealthiest family rarely have more than half dozen of the car in their porch. But it is saying that let's suppose that firstly you do not have any car, you want to have a car desperately. Then if you are said, then have another car. You can buy another car. Now that would be not that much desire for you to buy another car. That would be less intense than the previous one. So it says that the marginal utility of every new unit is less than the previous one. There are few terminologies which we are using. Number one is a utility. Utility is the want satisfying power, or we can say that the utility of a good and service is the satisfaction or pleasure one gets from consuming it. When you are using any commodity and you get the satisfaction by using that particular commodity, you get the utility. What you get? You get the utility. There are different characteristics of utility. Number one is utility and usefulness are not synonyms. For example, painting by Picasso may offer great utility for an art connoisseur, but are useless functionality other than for hiding a crack on the wall. Means, or we can say that if there is a smoker, for drinking a cigarette, for smoking, cigarette has a greater utility for a smoker, but a non-smoker, it has no utility. Then utility and usefulness. We cannot mix both these concepts. Something for you it has a utility, but that is not useful for you. For example, a smoker is smoking. He is having a cigarette. He is getting a satisfaction by smoking, but that smoke is not useful, is not beneficial for his health. So utility and usefulness are not synonyms. Second, utility is subjective. The utilities of a specific product may vary widely from person to person. Eyeglasses have tremendous utility to someone who has poor eyesight, but no utility for a person who has 20/20 vision. Utility is difficult to quantify. But for purpose of illustration, we assume that people can measure satisfaction with units called utils, units of utility. For example, a particular consumer may get 100 utils of satisfaction from a smoothie, 10 utils of satisfaction from a candy bar, and 1 unit of satisfaction from a stick of gum. These imaginary units of satisfaction are convenient for quantifying consumer behavior for explanatory purposes. Total utility and marginal utility. Total utility and marginal utility are related but different ideas. Total utility. What is total utility and what is marginal utility? Total utility is the total amount of satisfaction a consumer realizes from an additional unit of that product. For example, from the 11th unit For example, 10 units of a good or service. Marginal utility. Marginal utility is the extra satisfaction a consumer realizes from an additional unit of that product. For example, from the 11th unit. Alternatively, marginal utility is a change in the total utility that results from the consumption of one more unit of a product. What is? It is a change in total utility by consuming one additional unit of that particular product. Now, what is the relationship between total utility and marginal utility? When total utility is increasing, marginal utility is positive. When total utility is maximum, marginal utility is zero. When total utility is decreasing, marginal utility is negative. Look at this graph and the table. We have said, let's suppose that there are tacos consumed per meal. We have said that the marginal utility will go on decreasing, that is law of decreasing marginal utility. So we may clearly see that the marginal utility is 10, then 8, then 6, 4, 2, 0 and minus 2. And with the help of marginal utility, we can make the total utility column. Number 1 is 0. 0 plus 10 is 10. 10 plus 8 is 18. 18 plus 6 is 24. 24 plus 4 is 28. 28 plus 2 is 30. 30 plus 0 is 30. And 30 minus 2 is 28. We have also plotted on the graph total utility and marginal utility. Now, we can see the relationship in the table and the graph as well. Look at the table. When the marginal utility is positive, we may clearly see that the total utility is go on increasing from 0 to 10, 10 to 18 to 24, 28 to 30. Then when total utility is maximum, that is 30, then the marginal utility is 0. And when the total utility is decreasing from 30 to 28, the marginal utility is negative. Similarly, from the graph in A diagram, when we are seeing that the total utility is increasing, when total utility is increasing, the curve of the marginal utility is above the x-axis, that is positive. When the total utility is maximum, we have seen that the marginal utility curve has cut the x-axis. It means their marginal utility is 0. And when the total utility is decreasing, the marginal utility curve has gone down the x-axis in the fourth quadrant, that the marginal utility is negative. Now, the assumptions. What are the assumptions of law of diminishing marginal utility? Whenever we are explaining law, there are certain assumptions that need to be constant. Number 1, it says that the nature of the commodity should remain constant. What? The nature of the commodity should remain constant means that it should not change. If you are eating an apple, then if the apple is of normal taste, then all the apples should be of normal taste. It shouldn't be like that the 10th apple is the sweeter one. If it is so, then you will want to eat the 10th apple. So it says that the nature of the commodity should not change. Then suitable unit. What it says that this law will be applicable only if a consumer is consuming with the help of the suitable unit. For example, you are drinking water. A thirsty person is drinking a water with a spoon. Then the first spoon has a utility. The second spoon would have a more utility than the first one. The third spoon would have a more utility than the second one, because the spoon is not a suitable unit. So it says that a consumer should consume with the help of the suitable unit, that is, that he should drink a glass with a glass. Then a continuous consumption. It says that the law of diminishing marginal utility will hold only if the consumer is consuming continuously. That I am drinking a glass of water now, then the second one would be have less utility, the third one would be less utility if I am drinking the water continuously. But if I'm drinking water in the morning and then the second one after a gap in the noon, then at noon it is too hot. Might be my utility for the water, a second glass of water in noon is higher than the first one which I have drink in the morning. So it says that there should be continuous consumption for the applicable of the law of diminishing marginal utility. Fourth is the taste of the consumer should not change. It should remain constant for the application of the law of diminishing marginal utility. And the fifth one is the income of the consumer, that the income of the consumer should remain constant. It should not change. If the income changes, then you will demand more of a commodity even if your utility is less for you. So it says that it should remain constant. Limitations. There are the limitations on which this law will not hold. Now, what are the limitations? Number one is the knowledge. Knowledge is a power. This is the thing that if a person is gaining knowledge, he will ask for more and more knowledge. He would not say that I don't want to have more knowledge. He would ask to acquire more and more knowledge. So, every new unit of a knowledge would possess higher utility, higher satisfaction. So, this law will not hold on knowledge. Then, wealth. As wealth, nobody will say no more money. Everybody will say, yes, I want more and more money because everyone is greedy in this world. So, this will not hold on wealth as well. Drugs and narcotics. A person who is a smoker, for him, the utility of every new unit is more than the previous one. So, on that this law will also not hold. Rare article. A person who is collecting rare articles, this law will not hold on that, because if I am collecting coins, it means by having more and more coins of the old era, old age, that is the rare article, I will get more and more satisfaction that now, firstly, I have one, then I have two, three, four. So I would be more happier that wow, I have now 100 coins of all countries, of all ages. Then the article of fashion. When something comes in the fashion, your utility for every new unit would be more. For example, it is a fashion of short shirts. You have made one small short shirt. The utility for the next one would be more. Then the third one would be more. You would be more happy if in your wardrobe there would be more of the more articles of fashion. So on that, this law also will not hold. Thank you.